Welcome back, my friends. I wanted to come on here and do a quick video. I just finished reading United States of Socialism by Dinesh D'Souza. This book was a quick read, easy read, and he answered a lot of questions that I often thought about as far as American citizens. You see how the left cry out for socialism and witnessing over 40 experiments from different countries, how it all failed. But yet this is the thing that they want for America. And the joke of how they always say that they want the Scandinavian type socialism, but in actuality they want Venezuela, because most of it, these politicians are motivated by greed. Most of them go into office, not having much money, and they come out multi-millionaires. Look at the Obamas buying property in Martha's Vineyard now. Bernie Sanders, poor broke college student, freeloader. Now he has 3 homes worth a couple of $1 million. Things I've learned about FDR, that I didn't find in my other books. How all of these people were pretty much socialists in their core, to their core. It's even reading this book, I'm still just like baffled by that these people want to go in that direction. And to me, I'm sure there's more to it, the spiritual aspect of it, which he doesn't really speak about it. He gives a lot of good examples. Like we always hear the argument about the just desserts, and remember during Occupy Wall Street when the 99% was protesting against the 1%, and mad at these people because they haven't done nothing with their lives, and it's the same argument that goes on in the black community, playing victimhood and we're oppressed, when in actuality you didn't take advantage of the opportunities that was presented before you. Like I've stated before, we have all grown up in the inner city, most of us, government school, government education. We didn't have private schools to go to, and some of us chose to go there and make the best of it, graduate and go on to college and to become college graduates. Even though I was a non-traditional college student, I went to the military after high school and did my time there, and then came home and, started a job and put myself through school. I wasn't loaded down with debt by the grace of God. Back then the GI Bill isn't what it is, or wasn't nothing compared to what it is today with what people get for going to school. Back then you had to go pay out your pocket, then you had to get a passing grade in order to get that money for the GI Bill. Even the drill sergeants laughed at us, when we were in basic training. Oh, you signed up, they got you with that GI Bill, huh? As we were pushing, beating our face. Yeah, they got us with that. But today, I could say that I paid my way through school, did it the non-traditional way, started out in community college, went to a 4-year And that was the best way to do it, you know, without being loaded down with student loans and being debt free. But a lot of these kids today, like he mentions in this book, their parents work hard. They have these, you know, businesses. They work hard. They put these kids through school. These kids go off to college. They go in there and they become indoctrinated. You know, here they are, products of capitalist entrepreneur parents, and here they are fighting against, you know, entrepreneurs and capitalists, the people that provide for others, make jobs and opportunities for other people to grow. You know, it's just weird. But he gives so many examples, and the one that was striking to me was you always hear AOC talking about, like, you know, Jeff Bezos and the Warren Buffetts and all these people, and how it's not fair that these people have billions of dollars and then you have people that's barely making anything. But he brings out in the book, you know, why it is what it is, and it is fair because these people are the ones that take the risk, you know, and everything that goes with starting a business. And then you, as a worker, reaps the benefits of it. And then after everything is said and done, bills are paid, you get your paycheck, and then they get what's left over. If that happens to be a great reward, that's their just due. Because they started the whole thing. Without them, you wouldn't even have that job. He also mentioned about, you know, 20 people playing the lottery, you know, and one person win, and then everybody else ganging up on that one person that win, you know, with their hands out, saying it's not fair. You know, when he put it in those simple terms, then you can see how ridiculous it is, the things that the left cry about. But they're just a bunch of freeloaders. And if you don't know much about politics and what the left is crying about, then I suggest you read this book. It is an eye-opener for someone who's trying to understand, you know, why someone, you know, would be crying out for a system that would hurt and basically make everybody poor. But anyway, the whole point of me coming on to this video had to do with something I watched today early this morning at work on break. I ran across a video with the Daily Wire, and he was out interviewing people during a Black Lives Matter protest, and he was questioning them about the facts. Now I'm going to show you this clip. Roll the clip.
I'm Ani Horowitz, and the protests that have convulsed our nation are based on the premise that the police are racist writ large, that they target black people for death. But the statistics don't support that conclusion. In fact, the data shows the exact opposite. According to the Washington Post and a new joint study by Michigan State University and the University of Maryland, which tracked every police shooting in every precinct across the country, it found that more white people are killed by police, both armed and unarmed. And controlling for crime rates, white people are disproportionately killed by officers. In fact, when there is a police shooting, black citizens are more likely to have been shot by black officers. So I went to a Black Lives Matter protest to explain my findings. Spoiler alert, it didn't go well. It's not a race issue.
Yes, it is.
More white people are killed by the police than black people.
Oh, no.
A lot more.
Where does that statistic come from?
The Washington Post. Most of the black people who were shot and killed by the police were killed by black police officers. That can't be a race issue.
It sure can.
Why?
I'm getting angry. I don't want to talk anymore. I'd like to see your card. Are you here trying to What are you doing here? Do you think that black lives don't matter? Why are you here?
Of course black lives matter.
It's really sweet that you're trying this.
No, but what do you want to see? You don't want? You're not interested in the statistics?
No, I don't want to talk to you. What's your take on this?
My take is there's no question there is police.
No, get to the point.
There,
What is your actual point?
There's no question that there's police brutality, but it's not based on race.
Oh God, are you Hey, there's a bunch of over there you can go suck.
I'm sorry. Do you care about the data?
Did you hear us? We said off.
I heard you, but I'm curious. Can we have a conversation? The data doesn't support that there's racial police brutality. More black people, more unarmed.
All the way off. All the way off.
Okay, so as you can see from this video, these people did not care about the facts. They were very rude, pretty much subjects, or should I say products of these universities, these left-leaning socialist professors that have brainwashed these people to believe and think a certain way, you know. And it always brings me back to an interview that I had seen with an ex-KGB agent. I mentioned this before. His name was Yuri Beznikov. He left Russia, came to the United States. This interview was taken or done in 1984. And he was saying how amazed that he was, you know, with America, you know, pretty much going in a Marxist direction. And he mentioned 4 things to transform, as Obama liked to use, you know, and Joe Biden just mentioned that too. He's going to transform America. You already know, we already can see, you know, what that transforming is going to be with their defunding the police. They're making the environment ripe for the tearing down of this nation and bringing in their socialist communist agenda for this country. But anyway, let me not get sidetracked. Back to Yuri Beznikov. He mentioned 4 things. He says you have to demoralize. Remember, this is a Christian nation brought up on Judeo-Christian values. So you have to demoralize the nation. You have to destabilize. And then you're going to have a crisis phase. And then you're going to reach the final stage, which is acclimatization. Well, guess what? When I watched this video, I said, we are here. We are at the acclimatization phase, because the thing about acclimatization, no matter how many facts you present to these people, they do not care. They are not going to wake up until, he said, they feel the bars slam, you know, in these camps, or the boot on their face. That's when they're going to wake up. But guess what? When they wake up, then it's going to be too late. I guess we can red pill some of these people, but it's really up, you know, to that individual to accept the truth and to see the error of their ways. And by the grace of God, you know, many people are walking away from that democratic plantation. You know, it's hard when you grow up in a certain environment that's catered to a certain party, like the majority of us in the black community. You know, most of our parents was Democrats, and so that's how we grow up thinking. And then we go off to school. Thank God, when I was going to school, there was still something in place called using critical thinking skills. So the teacher, you know, gave us questions, and then we had to answer those questions. And that's when I woke up in my civics class at El Camino College. Oh man, it was during a debate. Actually, it was during a presidential election year for, I think it was 1992, with Clinton. And this was during the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. And I said a statement in class, and it just made me realize how ridiculous that was. I said the things that I wanted in a candidate, and then he said, okay, so now who's your candidate? And I said Bill Clinton. And all the things that I said Bill Clinton fit none of those things. And that's the day I started to wake up, you know. But then after that, I began to read many books, because like I said, and I always mention on this channel, this is more so of a spiritual battle. And if you start digging into some of these people like Marx and Darwin and a lot of these other people that wrote these doctrines that a lot of the leftists is following, these people have no connection with God. There's a satanic element that's going on behind the scenes. So, this is, like I said before, spiritual warfare. And I believe we are really nearing the end. We are seeing the results of this defunding the police. And here we are again, July 4th weekend, 77 shot, 14 dead in Chicago. Crickets. That's what I hear, crickets with Black Lives Matter. Oh yeah, some of them came out. Oh, we do care about Chicago. But not like you do with these exploited incidents with police and black people. And for the majority of those situations, the black person just would not cooperate. And it led to, the tragedy, which they ended up losing their life because they're fighting, they're resisting, they're being, belligerent and just doing all these unnecessary things, and the situation escalates when it doesn't have to. So there's a divide. There's so many divisions, like he mentions in this book. The identity politics of the left is what they are using, and this intersectionality with the gender, this sexual orientation, the different ethnicities within this country. Everybody is played against each other, the rich against the poor. But once you wake up and see what they're actually doing, then you can no longer follow that. And it's just sad that as I watch some of these videos at work, that many of these young black people just was saying some of the most ridiculous things, these 19, 20, 21-year-olds, as the man raised the question, and he asked them, which I'm pretty sure you already know what the answer is going to be, some rude, belligerent answer. When he asked them about, do you support President Trump? And some of them chuckled, like, are you really asking me that question? And then he asked them, why not? What's the familiar answer? Because he's a racist. Then he says, well, why is he a racist? You know what was the most astounding thing? And it's really not astounding. They couldn't even give an answer. So these are the sheep. These are the useful idiots that I talk about that's marching in the street. And I hope to God that something happens to where they will wake up. And there was one black guy in the video that started out being very negative. And as the man started educating him on all the things that Trump has actually done, and he asked the man, now, is this good or bad? And he go, well, no, that's actually good. Well, man, no, that's actually good. So he had him stumped, and he really had to think. So you just can't sit there and listen to propaganda all day, because you will never know the truth. Like, they will have your head really messed up. When you have the internet at your fingertips, pretty much everybody has a cell phone. You can get on here and Google this thing, go on YouTube, research anything, and you will find other answers to questions from which you have been hearing from mainstream media, fake news, because they always twist it to fit their narrative. But they don't want to talk about nothing else, not unless it fit their narrative. But now we see we're back on this scandemic thing, with Dr. Falsey. That's what I call him, Dr. Falsey. They're telling us how these cases are starting to explode and rise again. But you're not hearing nothing about deaths. You know. So, I don't know how much longer the American people are going to continue to put up with this. But I'm pretty sure they're starting to do this because time is starting to draw down for the November election, you know, for the next president. And I hope to God that President Trump get in there, because if he doesn't, we're going to be in a world of hurt. And like I said, God might have said, okay, now is the time. Time is running out. You know, it's time to draw this thing to a close on this wicked earth. It's time to lay the devil and his angels and those that followed him, you know, to their end, that lake of fire. This world cannot go on forever. We see the evidences of it every day. People just doing things that just, you can't even imagine. Just like that young soldier that was killed at Fort Hood. Gone missing, then come to find out she was bludgeoned, put in a pelican case, hacked, and all this crazy stuff. How they do all of that in an armory room on a military base and get away with that. All the blood and all that stuff, and nobody knows nothing. Like, that is insane. What about the video I saw where the guy was walking on the street and he just reaches out and punches the old lady, 92-year-old lady, in the head for no reason? And she falls over and hit her head on a fire hydrant. Thank God she didn't die. But they found the guy. He had 65 arrests. You know, I hope they never let him out. But anyway, let me not rant on. It was just, I just had to shake my head, as I said, when I was watching this video, and I was just like, wow, we're actually in the fourth stage. These people do not care about facts. They do not care about the data. You know, you tell them that most black people that are dying at the hands of police, if it's a shooting, most likely it's from another black cop. The majority of the shootings, it's another black cop. So how is that racist, as the man queried in the video? Their response, shut up, get the F out of here. Suck my you know what. That was their response. And then they just threw the sign in his face. We're here for black lives. Black lives matter. Do black lives matter to you? He said, of course black lives matter. But I'm talking about this race issue you guys are marching against. You don't care about these facts? They didn't want nothing else to say to him. So you see, these are the useful idiots. Just like in the Bolshevik revolutions, how they got the proletariats and used them, you know, to tear up their own country, you know, to bring in Stalin, you know. They always pick out people who have, as Dinesh also mentioned, a grievance. This is another thing that helped me understand why so many black people are radical and hard-leaning left. Well, this indoctrination goes way back. So if you believe a certain way, like they're telling them systemic racism, in 2020, systemic racism. How is that so? We had a black president, black CEOs. Look at Oprah, Tyler Perry, like all these people, multi-millionaires. None of these people would exist if the system was steeped in racism. Like, I don't know, lack of critical thinking skills. And you see it all fall down when you start to question these people. They get so frustrated. The only thing they can do is begin to cuss you because they don't have an answer. And it shows their ignorance. You know, Well, that's how I'm going to end it, you guys. Please stay encouraged. Stay prayed up. I don't like to make predictions, but I don't see this world going on too much longer. I really don't. If Trump gets in there a second term, maybe it'll last a little longer, you know. But if not, it's gonna speed up. The process is gonna speed up because these people are motivated by an evil spirit. You know, the Democratic platform, they don't want to hear about God. You see Black Lives Matter platform, they don't want to hear about the nuclear family. They are completely antithetical to the Bible. This is why these lockdowns are so hard on churches. You know, you can go to a protest, but you can't go to church. This is why they are saying, you know, shatter the windows of churches that have murals of Jesus. Well, they say the white Jesus. Well, it don't matter what color they paint them in. The only thing that matters is what he did for us. He didn't come here just to die for black lives. He came here to die for all lives, because to the Lord, all lives matter. And if you belong to the Lord, all lives should matter to you. You remember that song when you was a child? Red and yellow, black and white, all are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. Yes. Every ethnic group he loves. And we should love them too. And that's how I'm going to end it. And I will see you on the next one.
Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Wake up! Come on.